Breaking news update, the Prime Minister has taken to social media. He in fact has spoken about the remarkable turnaround in the last 10 years in India's banking sector. So he cited a news report which has spoken of how the banking sector net has crossed 3 lakh crore rupees for the first time in the financial year 24. And the Prime Minister has now taken to social media X to say when we came to power, our banks were reeling with losses and high NPAs due to phone banking policy of UPA. The doors of the banks were closed for the poor. This improvement in the health of banks will help improve credit availability to our poor, farmers and MSMEs. An important update coming in as we speak. Pallavi Ghosh joins us with more details. The Prime Minister really talking about the health of the banking sector and has spoken of the financial year 2024 with these figures coming in. Banking sector net crosses 3 lakh crore rupees, Pallavi.
Yes, and there are two, three important points which have been made by the Prime Minister. One, of course, the accessibility of the banks to even the common man or to the poor. And this has been a part of the government's banking policy and also its economic policy to ensure and also to help the poorest of the poor to open bank accounts, which makes it the ease of doing business for them. It's easy accessibility to banks also as far as the poor are concerned. And the fact that the UPI and all of that, the digitalization is something which actually helps out and feeds into this system. But more importantly, we have heard multiple stories, and that's what the PM is referring to during the UPA times of many banks collapsing, not doing profitable business, small banks shutting up, mergers recklessly taking place. Here he's saying it's an unprecedented 3 lakh net profit which has been announced by the banking sector, which just goes to another indication of the robustness of the economy. And therefore, it's a very important landmark. It's a huge achievement which the Prime Minister is talking about.
Absolutely. If we talk about this article, it talks about the preceding years as well, Pallavi, how public sector banks had narrowed their profit gap with private banks as they cleaned up their balance sheet and increased earnings. In fact, the net profit of public sector banks has more than quadrupled in the last 3 years alone. And that's why the Prime Minister's taken to note these figures and has also posted it himself.
To give you very quick examples, State Bank of India, for example, had ancillary branches in smaller cities, like the State Bank of Travancore, for example. Because of the cabinet decisions, many of these small branches have been merged into a bigger system, which means that you have also increased the profitability, the reckless recruitment or the infrastructural modernization of it. That is something which the government has been focusing on, as has the finance ministry. All of these are small but big important steps which have been taken to ensure a modernization and a more robust banking operations. That is how it helps as far as increasing the profits of the public sector banks are concerned. That is most important, as well as the private sector. When you have more and more bank accounts being opened, when you have more and more savings thereby coming in from the people, it helps the banking sector to kind of generate revenues also for themselves. There were often complaints during the UPA times of non-performing assets. Again, the Prime Minister is making a reference to that, how the NPAs have also come down, how the profitability for the banking sector has also increased.
Absolutely. And it wasn't too long ago, Pallavi, when the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also spoke in the Lok Sabha during the budget session of the Parliament and in fact emphasized on a slew of measures that the Modi government has implemented to ensure this status of the banking sector. But thank you for joining us and putting that in perspective here on CNN News 18. Let's go